You're listening to Barske Studio True Crime. The story you're about to hear is just one of many hidden in the shadows of Nordic history, based on true events. No emotions, no bias, just facts.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're cutting into a really crucial structure. It's one built to protect the most vulnerable among us, children. We're looking at the Norwegian child protection model.
That's right, the Statens-Barnhus system.
Exactly. And it's a system with, well, incredible successes, but also some real significant strains. We've got sources showing where these, good intentions meet some harsh realities on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
We really have to start with the foundation, which is actually quite tragic. It's the 2005 case of 8-year-old Christopher Gistad Keeley.
A terrible case.
Just horrific. He died from sustained abuse by his stepfather. And what shook Norway wasn't just his death, but the fact that so many places, family, school, health services, they all missed the signs. No one sounded the alarm.
No one intervened. And that failure, it was a real national wake-up call. A catastrophe, really. It showed this huge gap in Norway's safety net for kids.
So what happened next?
Well, the direct response, a really powerful one, was setting up the Statens-Barnhus, the state child house system. The government drove it, along with organizations like Red Barna, Save the Children.
Okay, so tell us what a Barnhus actually is, because it sounds like more than just another government building.
Oh, definitely. It's defined as a multidisciplinary service. All the key players are co-located, brought together. They're actually integrated right into the police districts.
But their job is broader than just police work.
Much broader. The whole idea was to create this single safe place for forensic interviews, yes, but also to make sure there's holistic follow-up care for children who've been exposed to violence or abuse, specifically in cases reported to the police.
Right, like a bridge.
Exactly. A bridge connecting the justice system, the police investigation, with vital health and welfare services, all under one roof, basically.
That's a very ambitious goal. Trauma-informed justice. The first one opened, where was it? Bergen?
Bergen, 2007. And now there are 11 main facilities, plus some subdivisions, covering the whole country.
Okay, so let's unpack that system, because it sounds like those initial ambitions might be bumping up against just the sheer volume, the demand.
They absolutely are. You see, the core service that really fuels the justice side is the tilrettelagt år, the TLA.
It means?
Facilitated interview. It's a crucial legal tool. A child victim, or maybe a witness, under 16, give their testimony on video.
Yeah.
In this controlled, safe environment.
And that video can be used in court.
Yes, exactly. It saves the child from having to testify live, which can be incredibly re-traumatizing.
That seems like a definite win for the child, a measurable improvement. But you're saying the success of this one mechanism, the TLA, might be straining the whole system.
It seems so. I mean, look at the numbers.
Okay.
Between 2013 and 2017, the total number of these TLAs, these interviews, just exploded. From about 2,600 to over 6,300.
Wow. In 4 years.
4 years. That's a 138% increase in demand.
So the system is reaching more kids, which is good. But it's almost too successful at processing cases and maybe losing sight of the bigger picture. That sounds like a paradox.
It is the Barnhus paradox.
Oh.
And it came out very clearly in a big evaluation in 2021, the NoVA evaluation.
What did it find?
It found that the intense pressure from this sheer volume, this number of interviews, means the focus shifts. It tilts too heavily towards the criminal investigation part, what they call the penal track. And that original core mission, the comprehensive, holistic support for the child, it often gets shortchanged because the system is just overwhelmed trying to produce evidence quickly.
But wait, isn't getting a conviction, getting justice for the child, isn't that the ultimate goal here? Where's the conflict?
Well, that's the tension, isn't it? The investigation needs that immediate, high-quality information capture, the TLA. But the support, the trauma-informed care, that takes time. It takes relationship building, careful coordination with child welfare.
Right. Different timelines, different needs.
Exactly. When resources are stretched thin, the immediate deadline for the criminal case tends to win out over the longer-term needs of the child's recovery.
That really echoes what was said after the Christopher case. I remember reading Kari Evensen, who investigated it. She pointed out how professionals tend to talk to adults, check the truth against other adults, and interpret as adults.
Yes, becoming concerned with behavior instead of how the child is doing.
So if the Barnhus system gets too focused on the checklist for the criminal case, just getting the TLA done, it risks making that same mistake, looking past the child.
That's the danger. And the procedure itself, getting that TLA done, it's packed with logistical problems.
Hmm.
For instance, those deadlines are incredibly strict. The police had to conduct these interviews within 1 to 3 weeks.
1 to 3 weeks for potentially complex abuse cases. That sounds tight.
It's incredibly tight. And it's maybe the single biggest friction point in the whole system. The focus becomes all about meeting that deadline, the Christophe-Nell's deadline achievement.
So resources get thrown at it, ready or not.
Pretty much. It means resources get used up right at the start, sometimes before the investigation is really ready. Crucial preliminary steps might get skipped because everyone's just racing the clock.
And does the data back that up, the resource issue?
It does. In 2017, something like 62% of the times they missed the TLA deadline. It was blamed specifically on resource shortages.
What kind of shortages?
Mainly, not enough specialized TLA leaders and investigators. It's not just about processes. It's about having the right people.
Which leads to the personnel problem.
Yeah, it's a real economic issue, too. We're talking about police officers doing highly specialized, incredibly emotionally draining work.
Dealing with the worst kinds of cases.
Exactly. But often, these specialized investigators are paid less than regular operational police staff. So what happened?
High turnover.
High turnover. Lots of new, maybe inexperienced recruits handling these extremely delicate situations, which just adds more strain and more risk.
Okay, so the human side is strained. What about the process itself? You mentioned technical friction. This detail really stood out to me.
Right. Okay, so after the TLA, the interview itself, which is already intense,
Yeah.
the documentation process hits this massive bottleneck. The video evidence from these critical interviews, it's often burned onto a physical CD or DVD.
Wait, CD, DVD, seriously.
Seriously. And then sent through the regular mail to the lawyers, the courts, everyone who needs it.
You're telling me that in, modern high-tech Norway, evidence of child abuse is put on a disc and mailed? That sounds like something from the 90s?
It's shocking, isn't it? It's slow, wildly inefficient, and think about the security risks for such sensitive material.
Absolutely.
It just slows down the entire judicial chain. And this sort of technological relic is struggling even more now because the cases themselves are getting more complex.
How so? More complex in what way?
Well, we've seen a huge jump in sexual offense cases.
Okay.
The total number basically doubled in just 4 years.
Doubled. Why?
A lot of it is driven by internet crimes, online grooming, sharing of illicit material. These cases mean investigators have to handle enormous amounts of digital data.
Data seizures, encryption.
Right. Plus, more need for international cooperation. All this extra work puts even more pressure on those initial TLA deadlines we talked about, and it just makes the backlog from mailing DVDs even worse.
Okay, let's pivot slightly. There's another major challenge emerging, right? The system is now having to deal with minors who are offenders themselves.
Yes, that's a growing issue. We saw something like a 60% increase in minors reported for serious sexual offenses, just comparing the 2012-2015 average to 2016 alone.
60%. So how does the Barnes fit into that?
Well, it creates this immediate role conflict. Because minors who are suspected or accused, they are now also being interviewed at the Barney using.
How many?
In 2017, there were 172 interviews like that. But here's the problem. The Barnhiss was designed and legally set up to support victims. It's not mandated, not built, to provide follow-up care for juvenile offenders.
So the staff are caught in the middle.
Exactly. It blurs the roles, puts immense stress on the staff, and complicates who the system is ultimately supposed to be serving in those situations.
And then there are legal hurdles, legal friction points, compounding things further.
Absolutely. Right. A big one is the lack of clear, harmonized age limits across different parts of the system. You see 15, 16, 18 years popping up for different things.
Like what?
Like a minor's right to legal representation, their verge, or their right to privacy, for example, when it comes to waiving confidentiality for their health records or child welfare files.
And if those rules aren't crystal clear,
Everything slows down. Legal clarity is like the oil in the judicial machine, right?
Yeah.
If the rules about who represents the minor or what information can be shared are murky, you get delays while everyone tries to figure it out.
makes sense.
And this pressure just keeps intensifying. There are new legal duties, too. Like recently, judges were given a duty to actively consider a contact ban, a contact for bud for convicted abusers.
Meaning the court has to decide if the abuser should be banned from contacting the child after the conviction.
Correct. Proactively. But think about it. To make that decision properly, the judge needs the child's perspective on future contact.
Which needs to be gathered somehow.
Right. And the judge might ask the police or the TLA system within the Barnes to facilitate getting that perspective. But if that wasn't prepared for, if it wasn't gathered properly beforehand.
The whole court case could stall.
Exactly. Significant delays. It's yet another critical, time-sensitive job layered onto investigators who are already stretched incredibly thin.
Okay. So the system was built with the best intentions, born from tragedy, but it's grappling with resource gaps, outdated tech like DVDs, legal gray areas. How do we even begin to fix this? Let's talk about remedies.
Well, on a philosophical level, it starts with addressing that professional distance we mentioned earlier. Experts like Kari Killen argue we need to move away from just cold procedure.
Right.
She champions that idea from Kierkegaard.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to help someone, you have to first find him where he is and begin there.
Meaning a more relational approach.
A truly relational, trauma-informed approach. Not just filling out forms for a criminal case, but connecting with the child's reality.
That sounds like a moral argument, but based on the data you shared earlier, it also sounds like a pretty clear economic argument.
That's the crucial link. Child abuse isn't just a tragedy, it's a major driver of long-term health inequality. And the cost is enormous, estimated at around 2.7% of Norway's GDP annually.
Wow.
So when you look at the financial case for early intervention, it's incredibly strong. You often hear about the Heckman curve analogy.
Remind me.
It basically shows that the earlier you invest in a child's development, especially prenatal, and the first few years, say 0 to 3, the return on that investment is exponentially greater. You save huge costs down the line.
Right, the 1,000 first days idea. Invest upfront in safety and stability.
And you save fortunes later on healthcare, crime, social services, you name it. Investing in prevention simply makes more financial sense than paying for intervention later.
Is there any political traction for this preventative approach?
There is. The Stortinget, the Norwegian parliament, actually requested a pilot program focusing on universal intervention for first-time parents.
Targeting those first 1,000 days.
Directly. To try and ensure every child gets that safe start with responsible adults who, well, love them.
So it's about combining that immediate protection through burniness with much longer-term preventative care. That's the way forward.
It has to be. The Barnes system, it's admirable, it's necessary, it came from a need to act. But it's mission-protecting children that demands moving beyond just the immediate criminal case.
It needs system-wide fixes.
Yes. Addressing those deep-seated friction points we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
From investigator pay and burnout to finally ditching the DVDs for modern digital evidence handling and sorting out those legal ambiguities that clog up the whole chain of justice.
Okay, so what does all this mean for you, our listener, trying to understand how effective public finance and social systems work or sometimes struggle around the world?
Well, maybe consider this thought for the road. The money currently spent annually on psychological disorders in Norway. And remember, so much of that often traces back to childhood trauma. That cost is estimated to be 4 times what it costs to run the entire Norwegian military.
4 times the defense budget.
Yeah. So, given those staggering financial costs, let alone the human cost, if the system designed to protect children is struggling because it lacks specialized investigators or uses outdated tech like burning DVDs, what kind of fundamental shift in priorities is needed? How do we start treating early childhood protection not just as a worthy social goal, but as the absolutely essential economic and, frankly, national security investment that all the data suggests it truly is?
Thank you for listening to Barske Studio True Crime. The story you've heard is just one of many hidden in the shadows of Nordic history. We release new episodes every week, exploring fresh true stories, from haunting mysteries to chilling crimes. Subscribe and join us next week as we uncover another untold truth. This was Barske Studio True Crime, told by AI with no emotion and no filter.